probably know those stuff.
I spent my whole life trying to avoid open Sicilians, and now we have like 2 or 3 of them. This one, yeah, I mean, we'll go back from the start just very quickly. It was a Najdorf Sicilian, open Sicilian here, and then a6. I used to play h3 with the phase when I was playing open Sicilians in my life. I was playing h3 a lot, e5, and yeah, we saw earlier that a6 is always directed against knight b5. Knight f5 isn't so easy now, as opposed to the other game with the bishop on c8 still. So knight to b3, one of the 2 main moves. Knight to e2 was the other one. Bishop e6, f. Yeah, this is interesting because we were talking the other day with the bishop on e2 even, that bishop e6 used to be regarded as a mistake in the old days, before bishop e7, because normally you wait for white to play, for example, you wait for white to play bishop e3, then you play bishop e6, since f4 is less attractive, because the white bishop has to move twice. But just recently there's been a trend of playing bishop e6, saying, okay, f4, yes, your bishop can move out and take back in 1 move, so I'm not even going to do that, I'm just going to wait and provoke you forward. And in the good old days, I remember it used to be not advisable, but nowadays it's computers say it's okay, and it's a good way to provoke your opponent forward.
I just want to add, since we are in England, right, and maybe to tell about more about English attack. So let's say if we go back, instead of h3, if white plays f3, and then after e5, knight b3, let's say that we have the same position, bishop e6, g4. So here the difference with the pawn on h3, that you can go f4, or you can save this square for your queen. So, but it's similar in terms of understanding. White goes bishop e3, castles long, and then you have that kind of things. White is pushing on the king side, black is pushing on the queen side. Usually when you have opposite castles, you should open the door, so break the wall around the opponent's king as fast as possible. So this is some kind of race. Here with h3, they started to do some subtleties with e5 we have, and then like leaving this f3 square for a queen, or just play f4 in 1 go.
Yeah.
So this, I would say, like, it's a first difference. Okay,
yeah.
So b5, yeah, white is pushing, black is pushing the same. Knight c6 maybe, usually we tend to see in knight or knight to d7. What do you think? Why knight c6 is here a detail?
Maybe he feels that because the white queens come out so early, maybe sometimes knight b4 threat. Probably you don't want to give up the light square bishop, but maybe occasionally you can take or go knight d4. I agree though, it's not normal for the knight to come to c6. Often there's even some move orders where you try and trick the opponent's knight to c6, and then you go back and say, haha, your knight isn't great here, it blocks the black rook on the c file. But interesting. Maybe as well just designed to get the opponent out of preparation. G4, rook c8, and here we are, live position. I'm glad you mentioned the English attack, because when I was growing up, it was like the English attack was the only way to play against the Najdorf if you were in this country.
And yeah, exactly. And then they started to play even against Taimanov, against others. You just play English attack, and you are fine.
Quick g4.
Yeah. But here the point is that after knight c6 and let's say taking on f4 or taking on e5, knight can come to e5 anyway, either from d7 or from e5. Is there some subtlety that after f5 I can...
ideas of going knight d7, knight d5. And since I didn't commit the rook to c8, I gained this idea of going h5 like I did in the game. So, okay, king b2, and now I went h5, g5, knight d7.
Okay.
Okay, knight.
For me, it looked around here somewhere.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
maybe
in this position that it looks quite dangerous for white.
yeah, I feel like I should be a bit better here, but I wasn't able to find anything. Let's say like too threatening for white. Like, let's say okay, you went knight d4 in the game. Like knight g5 seems logical. I want to, because one thing was that like I always have this idea of going g6 now after playing knight g5.
So he jumps.
So okay, check, king f8. He went bishop f4.
Okay.
Oh, so
No,
h4 first, yeah, he went
yeah.
h4 first, and then I went knight c4 check, because if I start with g6, I think he has knight e3. And this I felt was a bit annoying. So okay, I gave this check, king c1, and now yeah, knight d5. So now I stop all this. If I went with g6 directly, I think he has knight d6, so by playing knight d5, I kind of tried to cut this bishop on h2. And overall, I mean, I feel like white should... It's of course like, white is the one who's fighting for equality, but it shouldn't be too bad for white overall. Like, maybe it's a bit worse, but it should be well within.
Yeah, I said that okay, you did your job, you're slightly better, but being able to win this position, it's... I don't know how. Maybe Magnus knows, but it's...
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I'll need to... I'll try, like, actually, once I go back to my room, I'll probably try to find a way, so...
Yeah, but it's not easy. You know that you are slightly better, but how to find something?
Yeah, like bishop f4, so the main purpose of this move is that he's preventing any, let's say, future knight e3. And okay, I went rook d8. My point was I wanted to play g6, but g6 he puts knight back on d4. So by playing rook d8, I kind of cut this option of this.
Okay. So rook d8.
Bishop e2, okay, now g6. I mean, knight e3, knight takes e3, bishop takes e5. I took this pawn, but already I have a feeling like this is very, very close to equal. Like, he went rook h3, I went knight g4. I mean, I offered a draw because I didn't really see too much for black. Like, let's say bishop g4, h4, rook a3. I saw like bishop c4, rook a6, rook e8. And even if white just gives up the pawn, like bishop d6 check, king g8, and let's say, I don't know, any random move like bishop g3 even, rook takes e4, rook a8 check, king g7, and now he just like waits, because I also need to be a bit careful, because okay, if bishop reaches long diagonal, I essentially just get mated, and I didn't really think there was like too many